Infestor is pretty much the main Zerg mid-game now. It's either Ling Bling Muta or Roach Infestor, and then Roach Hydralisk Infestor, Corruptor versus Protoss. Interestingly enough, earlier today I actually had someone go mass Hydra against me, and for those of you who don't know, I'm a Terran player, and I like to mech, and the thing is, every single one of my units hard counters Hydras. I had Marines, which counter Hydras, I had Hellions, which obliterate Hydras, I had tanks, which are meant to be the counter for Hydras, and I had Thors, which are just amazing units. And amazingly, he managed to make it viable. He used a lot of drop play, and he couldn't beat me in a straight-up fight, which he found in the mid-game, because I had better upgrades than him, and I had better unit composition against his. So what he chose to do then is he used a lot of drops, and he killed a bunch of my expansions. And eventually I did end up winning, because I just pushed to the center and sieged, and he couldn't take me in a straight-up fight, because Hydras just aren't strong enough units. They deal insane amounts of damage, and so he did kill huge, like gross amounts of my stuff, but they're not beefy enough to stand up on their own. All this time that I've been telling you about how I've played, we've seen something interesting here. It actually looks like Serial Killer has taken a considerable advantage. If we look at the units tab, he's now ahead by 4 drones. I'd like to see one of these players take a third base. It's 17 minutes into the game, so they should have their third by now. And I see also Serial Killer getting his Infestor. His Infestor energy upgrade. So we are going to see Roach Infestor versus Roach Infestor. Let's see which player has better upgrades. This player has his first armor, while Serial Killer has Roach Speed. And at this point, considering you're going Roach Infestor, for the love of God, get Burrow and get Tunneling Claws. Roach Infestor, just, you need Burrow. It's so valuable. And look at this, him being proactive, Konks being proactive. I keep on wanting to say Conch, getting his own Overseer. And he's burrowing these Infestors, which is clever, so they can store up energy safely, not to be afraid of, like, Zergling snipes, or even if you were playing against a Terran, you burrow them to avoid Roach, or to avoid Ghost sniping. Sorry for that little pause there. Back into the game, we see Serial Killer also getting his burrow, or his detection, and he is taking his third. So we're going to be seeing we're going to see more units versus upgrades. And I think you guys know which side I tend to favor. Someone annoying is pinging, but I don't think it's the same guy as last time, because it would have been a billion pings. Konks is continuing to macro up. He has, he does have burrow, which is good, because you can just burrow these roaches. And does he have Tunneling Claws? Let's see. This is what's actually fun to analyze about mirror matchups. He doesn't have Tunneling Claws. Get Tunneling Claws. You have Burrow. Alright? It's easy. It's good for harass. It's a strong play overall. And it's good if your opponent doesn't have detection. You can make them so valuable. And also, it's the only kind of micro I'm good at. So therefore, it's just like I think Protoss players should always get Blink. Just because Blink Stalkers are the only units I can actually micro to any sort of effect. Now, Serial Killer does know that this third is going up, and he knows it's way behind his third. So he's going to move out before this third attacks, or before this third pays off. He has a bunch of unupgraded Zerglings, which is interesting. Let's see what kind of upgrades he's getting. He's getting none. So, but if we look at the Army Supply tab, that shows you the advantage here. That's a lot more stuff. Alright, so Konks has no army. He has 14 to 41 roaches. He has 4 to 7 Infestors. I mean, Konks is just, he has the more, like, useful units, and actually, Konks has a slight Zergling advantage. His units are overall stronger, but Serial Killer has just so much more of them. At this point, I'd like to see him get 3 or 4 cycles of nothing but roaches. Here, let's see his map vision. This is why he hasn't scouted his opponent in ages, so he doesn't know that his opponent is just making a huge army and is about to be maxed. He thinks his opponent is sitting there economizing. Well, no, your opponent is gearing up to kill you easily. Back to everyone, and now he knows it, and not even the superpowers of the Infestors is going to be enough to do anything to this. He's killing off creep tumors, which again, try to avoid. And now we're going to see fungal growth versus fungal growth versus fungal growth versus fungal growth. Actually, fungal growth in this overseer. The overseer is standing right there. Yep, I see it. I see myself getting hit in the eye. And I'm now going to run away back over here. Fungal growth is cool because you can't hit your own stuff. And Serial Killer now just has so many more roaches because he did have so many more roaches. He had 27 more. And he walked away from that thanks to his money fungal growth with a lot better. He pretty much won right here. I always think it'd be cool, or I think I was telling you guys this earlier, that I think it's cool when Zergs neural parasite other Zerg units. I've seen someone neural parasite a queen. This was a pro. I believe it wasn't July, nor was it Daimaga. It may have been Idra. It was an American, or yes, it was an American player who was a very good Zerg. He neural parasited his opponent's queen to transfuse one of his Ultralisks. It was awesome. It was the only late game TVZ I've ever, or ZVZ I've ever seen. And I didn't really describe what happened at the end there because nothing really interesting happened. Serial Killer just had a way huger army and killed him. So what this shows is that if you're not scouting your opponent, you're going to die, and that as Zerg, making an investment in army isn't bad. He still did manage to keep about the same amount of drones as before, and he did invest that advantage into army supply. He didn't invest it into tech exactly, but he did invest it. He didn't invest it into tech, nor did he invest it into economy exactly, but he did invest it into army. Which is okay. What I was saying before was immediately afterward. Immediately after you take an advantage, you should not just pump army. Although that is something that I did kind of poorly, is that sometimes when I take a moderate advantage, I will then not get enough production structures, and the Protoss will come in with a 4-gate. So if I've killed one of his gateways and his robo with my Marauders, and then he just 4-gates me, then I can lose. So therefore, you don't want to immediately, you don't want to invest in army. What you want to do is invest in tech or economy. He chose economy, and then use that to make a stronger army slightly afterward. And what he showed also is that you just need to macro. Alright, his opponent didn't make that many drones, nor did his opponent make that much army. He just kind of didn't. And it shows that spending your money is extremely important. So there was Serial Killer kind of rolling the first guy, and now we'll move on to game 2.